I am joined today by Anna Delgado Campbell and Leslie Lovejoy from Gold Country Services, the organization that administers the Meals on Wheels program here in Nevada County. Welcome. How are you guys today?
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. So you are rather famous, Anna.
By accident.
So first thing I want to know is, how did you get to ask a question on that town hall virtual call? Because, you know, I had a couple friends who were on that call. We were kind of doing it together, and they had punched in the code. So did you know you were going to be picked in advance, or?
Nope.
Okay.
You can call it fate. You can call it luck.
Okay.
I called in about 30 minutes in advance. I had just planned on listening to the call, but they gave the prompt of if you wanted to ask a question, and I said, sure, why not? At the time, they were saying that there was 12,000 people on the call. I did not think I was going to get picked.
12,000, 25,000?
Yeah.
So were you prepared as far as a written out statement, or just did you wing it? Because you were very articulate, and you know, people around the table were like, I'm so glad she asked that question. So
Thank you. Well, I do work as the communications coordinator for Gold Country.
I forgot to introduce you with us.
No. So it is kind of my job to have a question on deck at all times.
And were you a Girl Scout? Be prepared? Yeah. No.
I was not. I did robotics in high school, a different kind of preparedness.
So how did you feel? What did you think about Kevin Kiley's response to your question? First of all, could you just sort of summarize your question for the audience, just to go over that?
Yeah, so I more introduced what the program is and why we're feeling a lot of uncertainty when we're coming into like this next year, and how we're supposed to run the program with federal funding being as uncertain as it is. And so my main takeaway question that I posed to him was, what should we expect from our Congress, from the federal government, when communicating to nonprofits like ours that serve such a vulnerable population, where that funding is necessary to make sure that seniors in our community don't starve?
And what did you think of his answer?
I am still waiting on an answer.
Okay, explain.
Because we still don't have clear expectations of what we should be looking for in terms of communication from the Congress, from our federal government. Right now, everything is very much up in the air, and I think we all could do with a little bit more certainty right now.
Got it. So Leslie, you're executive director of Meals on Wheels here for several years, I believe.
Yes.
And is this the most precarious time you can think of? How did you think of the response Representative Kiley gave?
So, yes, you're right. It is the most precarious time in the history of Meals on Wheels, mainly because we get almost 100%. No, it's around 70% of our funding from the federal government to run that program.
Oh, that's high.
That's high. We're expected to do some matching, do some fundraising in order to make it whole, but still 75% is a lot of funding from them.
So you serve 100,000 people, I believe, in Nevada County?
No. We serve two groups of people through the Meals on Wheels program. One is homebound seniors that have no support, they can't cook their meals, they can't access their meals, and they have multiple chronic conditions that put them at risk for frequent hospitalization. We have 168 clients that we serve a week, and we have a waiting list of about 35 to 40. And that waiting list sits there for months and months. So these are the most vulnerable people, if you think about it, in terms of our seniors.
Have any of your seniors expressed concern over the news? Are they, for the most part, aware of what's going on with the potential cuts?
That's quite a good question, because today I got a call when I was at the senior center and from a gentleman and said, is Meals on Wheels closed?
Oh, wow. Oh.
And I said, no. We are continuing to serve, but we're very cognizant of the fact that there's a challenge in our funding, and we're going to figure it out as much as we can over the course of the number of months. I don't know how long we have in terms of funding. I think we have until the end of June,
Okay.
but we may have until mid-September when Congress goes into their budget process.
Sure.
So you don't know.
So this uncertainty must be just so, it's a very anxiety producing, I guess is the best way to put it.
It is. I mean, we struggle so hard to make sure that our clients get the food they need in order to be healthy and to thrive. And the research is there. You provide healthy food to people, they thrive, they're engaged, they don't use the hospital as much. It always interests me when they think about cutting programs that are actually going to increase costs.
Increase in other programs or other services.
Absolutely, especially hospitalization, skilled nursing,
Right.
all that stuff.
Yeah, do the math.
Do the math.
Right. Right.
So that's interesting to me. The second group of people are the low-income seniors who come to the senior center for a hot, nutritious meal that gives them a third of the calories they need that day in order to support healthy living.
Yes.
And so combined, we serve probably, during COVID, when we were doing frozen food and we were all quarantined, we did about 145,000 meals a year.
Yikes.
Now we're down, because of going back to baseline, to about 60,000 meals.
That's a lot of food.
That's a lot of food. It is.
Yes. What can we as a community do to support you and make our voices heard to Congressman Kiley and other representatives? What do you suggest? What do you need?
Well, I think there's two ways to go about this, because it's a challenge, and I like challenges. So one challenge is, how do we do this program without federal funding?
Right.
So we're exploring those options. And
when you say we, is there a board that
the board,
or community input?
Yeah, and the organization. How do we do this without?
Okay.
And so we're exploring that avenue. There are a number of programs that we've contacted to figure out how they do it. And so we'll be working on that end to see if, clearly, whatever happens, even if we still have federal funding, we know it's going to be less.
Right.
So we're going to need to increase our fundraising, increase looking at grants that are non-federal, non-state grants, and increasing community awareness and participation. Feeding people is a community issue.
Yes. Yes, these are our people.
Right, these are our people.
Yes.
And so then it opens up an opportunity to maybe have some discussions about how we do that.
Will you come back when the time comes, the both of you, and we can, talk about what the new reality is, perhaps, and some ideas about how the community can support you?
Oh, yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah.
And keep communicating, because clearly what you said struck a chord with a lot of people, and hopefully with Representative Kiley.
Yeah, well, they can always check out all the things that we have to say that I put together on social media or on our website. And there's already a lot of ways that they can come out and support us. You can check us out on Facebook or our website.
And the thing is, Representative Kiley knows our clientele because he's come and delivered meals.
Okay. So he's seen it up close and personal.
Yes, he has.
That's real. Thank you for your work. It's really important work. No one should go hungry.
Right.
No one should be afraid for their safety. So we appreciate your work. And please come back. Let's keep the conversation going.
Sure.
Okay.
Love to.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Anna.